November 15th, 1325, northern Italy. A group of soldiers from Modena sneak into the rival city of Bologna. They're not there to kill anyone. They're not there to steal gold. They're there for something much more important. A bucket, a regular wooden bucket used for pulling water from a well. They grab it and run. Bologna loses its mind. They send 32,000 soldiers to get their bucket back. Modena sends 7,000 to keep it. Over 2,000 people die in the battle that follows. And here's the kicker: the bucket still exists. It's in a museum in Modena, on display, like a trophy, because they won the bucket war. You're listening to Wait, That Actually Happened, where we prove history is stranger than fiction. I'm your host, author Daniel P. Douglas, and today we're talking about the time two cities went to war over a piece of wood with a handle. Seriously. Okay, so medieval Italy wasn't like Italy today. It wasn't even a country. It was basically a bunch of city-states that hated each other's guts. Think of it like this. Imagine if every major city in America had its own army, its own government, and centuries of beef with the city next door. That's medieval Italy. The two biggest troublemakers in northern Italy were the Guelphs and the Ghibellines. These weren't cities, they were like political gangs. The Guelphs supported the Pope. The Ghibellines supported the Holy Roman Emperor. They'd been fighting for about 200 years by 1325. Bologna was Team Guelph. Modena was Team Ghibelline. They're only 25 miles apart. That's like living next to your worst enemy and seeing them every day at the grocery store. These cities had been trash talking and fighting for decades: border disputes, trade wars, regular wars. They'd steal each other's stuff all the time: cattle, crops, whatever. It was like the world's deadliest prank war. But here's the thing about medieval honor: it wasn't about what you stole, it was about the disrespect. And nothing says disrespect like stealing someone's bucket. See, this wasn't just any bucket, it was the bucket from the main well in the center of Bologna, the well everyone used. It would be like someone stealing the Statue of Liberty's torch. Sure, it's just a big light, but it's our big light. The stage was set: two cities that already hated each other, centuries of political rivalry, and now someone just stole their bucket. So here's what actually happened, and historians still argue about this because it's so stupid it's hard to believe. Some soldiers from Modena were at Bologna's city well. Maybe they were spies, maybe they were just thirsty, maybe they were drunk. Nobody knows for sure, but they took the bucket and ran back to Modena. When Bologna found out, they didn't laugh it off. They didn't send a strongly worded letter. They mobilized their entire army. I'm not exaggerating. Bologna assembled 32,000 soldiers. They had 2,000 cavalry, knights in full armor. They brought catapults for a bucket. Pope John the 22nd, yes, the actual Pope, tried to calm everyone down. It's just a bucket, he basically said. But Bologna wasn't having it. This was about honor now. Modena saw this massive army coming and thought, oh, they're serious about the bucket, so they got their own army ready. 7,000 soldiers. They were outnumbered almost 5-1, but they had the bucket, and they weren't giving it back. The two armies met at a place called Zappolino. It's just a field between the two cities. Perfect place for a bucket battle. The battle was brutal. We're talking full medieval warfare here. Knights charging, arrows flying, swords clashing, people getting trampled by horses, all the greatest hits of medieval combat. And here's the crazy part: Modena won. How do 7,000 soldiers beat 32,000? Well, Bologna's army was mostly made up of random citizens they forced to fight. Modena had actual trained soldiers. Plus, the German emperor sent them reinforcements because, remember, this was also about Guelphs versus Ghibellines. The battle lasted all day. When it was over, about 2,000 soldiers from Bologna were dead. Modena lost maybe a few hundred. It was a total disaster for Bologna. But wait, it gets better, or worse, depending on how you look at it. After winning, Modena's army didn't just go home. They marched right up to Bologna's city walls. They couldn't break in, but they did something even more insulting. They had a feast right outside the gates. They partied all night, basically doing a medieval victory dance where Bologna could see them. Then, just to rub it in, they stole Bologna's other buckets too. Bologna never got their bucket back. They tried. They kept fighting Modena on and off for years. More people died, but the bucket stayed in Modena. So, what happened after the bucket battle? Well, the war technically continued for 12 more years. Not constant fighting, but raids and skirmishes, all started by a bucket. The peace treaty in 1337 didn't even mention the bucket. Bologna was too embarrassed to ask for it back officially. Imagine putting "please return our bucket" in a peace treaty. Modena kept the bucket like a trophy. They hung it in their cathedral at first, like a holy relic. Behold the sacred bucket we killed thousands for. Later, they moved it to the town hall. The war changed the balance of power in northern Italy. Modena proved they could beat a much bigger enemy. Bologna lost credibility. Other cities started picking sides. The Bucket War actually helped set up bigger wars that came later. And the families of those 2,000 dead soldiers, they had to live with the fact that Dad died for a bucket. Imagine that conversation. How did Grandpa die? Well, you see, there was this bucket. The craziest part? Both cities still hate each other. Not like medieval let's kill everyone hate, but they're rivals in everything. Soccer, food, whose Ferrari is better. 700 years later, they're still mad about the bucket. You know what's wild? We still do this exact same thing today. We just use different buckets. Think about every international incident that started with something dumb. The time the United States and Canada almost went to war over a pig. The British and Spanish fighting over some guy's ear. Countries today threatening war over tiny islands nobody lives on. It's never really about the bucket, or the pig, or the island. It's about respect, pride, not looking weak. The same reasons Bologna couldn't just let the bucket thing go. Look at social media. People will fight for days over the stupidest stuff: a bad review, a mean tweet, someone using the wrong emoji. We're all just one stolen bucket away from mobilizing our followers. The difference is, when we fight online, nobody dies. Usually. Bologna and Modena turned a prank into a massacre. We turn pranks into viral videos. Though, honestly, if someone stole something iconic from your city, like the Liberty Bell or Hollywood sign, wouldn't you want it back? You'd at least want an apology. Bologna wanted their bucket back. They just went a bit overboard with the whole army thing. Imagine if this happened in 2025. Boston steals New York's Times Square ball, just takes it one night. New York would lose their minds. It would trend worldwide in minutes. Hashtag Ballgate or hashtag Give It Back. The mayors would tweet threats at each other. Cable news would have expert panels. The ball crisis, day 47. Someone would make NFTs of the stolen ball. TikTokers would pick sides. Ball truthers would claim it never existed. The National Guard wouldn't get involved, but there'd definitely be lawsuits, probably congressional hearings. Did you or did you not steal the ball? Boston would put it in a museum, charge admission, sell t-shirts. We stole your ball. Deal with it. New York would boycott Boston everything. No more Sam Adams, no Boston cream pie. And somewhere, a historian would point out this literally happened before with a bucket. So that's the War of the Oaken Bucket, when medieval Italy proved that no object is too stupid to die for if you're mad enough about it. The bucket's still there, by the way, in Modena's town hall. You can visit it. Take a selfie with the bucket that killed 2,000 people, because that's apparently a thing you can do. Next week, we're heading to Kentucky in 1876, where chunks of fresh meat fell from a clear blue sky for several minutes. And yes, people ate it. Because when mystery meat literally falls from heaven, apparently the first thing you do is taste test it. Spoiler alert, we still don't know where it came from. Be sure to check out my Substack, Intelligence Bulletin, from author Daniel P. Douglas, for more podcast series, written articles, and links to my books. New episodes drop weekly. Subscribe to never miss history's weirdest moments. Until next time, remember, truth is stranger than fiction, and history is weirder than you think. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Have a memorable day.